will be deliberating in detail about this extremely relevant topic in today's context, post which we will have ample time for your questions and answers. So I request Professor Madhur Kumar to kindly come and enlighten us.
Very good afternoon to everyone present here. This is my proud privilege to be here talking with you on eco-critical issues. Actually, I had a talk with Dr. Dimleshji regarding a topic to be chosen. And after much thought, I decided that eco-criticism would be one very appropriate for discussion. Because much has been spoken in literature on man and his nature. Writers generally take up the study of man and his behavior in his work of art. Since time immemorial, you can say in literature, this has been the practice. Now the time has come when literature has to look differently. Now we have to keep aside the study of mankind. The study of nature had become the prime focus of those related to green literature. While talking about eco-criticism, first of all, I would like to focus your attention on a novel written by John Steinbeck. I want to show how this novel has got eco-critical echoes. So much so that eco-critics have tried to rename the novel on eco-critical lines. The name of the novel is The Grapes of Wrath, and it has been written by John Steinbeck. A very beautiful novel. You must have heard of John Steinbeck, an American writer, an American novelist. When the book was published, there was lots of controversy. The book was even banned. Actually, this novel underlined the demerits of industrialization. You know, after Industrial Revolution and industrialization taking place consequently, it has a very bad impact on our ecology. It had a very sad impact on our environment. The invasion of industrialization brought corporate farming in Oklahoma, a village in America. And what happened? Now all the lands were taken together by corporate sector. They would do agriculture scientifically. They would use tractors and other tools, other modern tools for the purpose of agriculture. So under corporate farming, a tractor, there is an entry of a tractor on the land for the purpose of plowing, for the purpose of agriculture. And the villagers are puzzled to see a new thing taking entry into their village. They had not seen the tractor previously, and they looked at the tractor as a monster. The tractor seemed to them a monster, and in fact it was in every way looking like a monster. Tractor having two big headlights, giving the villagers the impression of big eyes of the monster. The bumper gave them the impression of the mouth of the monster. When the tractor moved, when it was plowing the field, the farmers were frightened. They also looked at the man sitting on the driver's seat. The driver also looked like a monster because he did not look like a normal human being at all. He was also wearing a helmet. There were gloves on his hands. His legs were covered. So the farmers looked at even the driver with curiosity and fright. Who is this one coming here? He must be a monster. Then the novelist gives us a very beautiful picture of how the earth was being plowed by the tractors. Steinbeck writes, when the tractor moved, the farmers felt that the earth was being raped. There was no love. There was no affection which the farmer has when he himself plows the field. This kind of love and affection was not there. Forcibly, the tractor was moving ahead and plowing the field. So they had the feeling that the earth was being raped. And the novel got so much of eco-critical egos that they preferred to call the novel the rape of the earth rather than the grapes of God. The words are quite homophonic. You say the grape, when you say the rape, when you say rock, when you say the earth, critics, they are now trying to find the egos in such texts. They are exploring right from Shakespeare to the writers writing till today. They are trying to find the eco-critical egos in them. And therefore, eco-criticism is a concern for all of us. Even if you look at Shakespeare, you can find out eco-critical egos in the works of Shakespeare. Now see how nature is making us, but we are going to unmake nature. We are not at all concerned about our ecology, of which we are a part. We are not a master. We are not a master of nature, but we are behaving quite differently with nature, and therefore we are facing natural crisis. Now I come to the general things related to eco-criticism, how it started and all, and how you find the eco-critical egos in Indian English literature in particular, particularly fiction. Eco-criticism emerged in the last decade of the 20th century with a view to exploring and addressing the environmental issues the world is facing through literature. It is a literary theory blossoming and garnering wide popularity all over. During the last 3 decades, it has developed as a worldwide emergent movement. The practice of eco-criticism had its lessons in the environmentalist movement of the late 1960s and 1970s. But the work of its early practitioners was slow to come together as a recognizable school of criticism. Instead, its welter of different levels suggested that it was splintered into numerous schools that might or might not share commonalities. Unlike the feminists and Marxists, who united behind a relatively solid front, the eco-critics were so scattered that they often did not know each other's work. The word eco-criticism traces back to William Rueckers' 1978 essay, Literature and Ecology, an experiment in eco-criticism, and apparently lay dormant in critical vocabulary until 1989 Western Literature Association meeting, when Cheryl Blott-Felty not only revived the term but urged its adoption to refer to diffuse critical film that until then had been known as the study of nature writing. Till now it was known only as nature writing, not eco-criticism. Since that meeting in 1989, the term eco-criticism had bloomed in Brussels. Then special sessions on nature writing or environmental literature began to appear on programs of annual literary conferences such as 1991 MLA special session on eco-criticism. The greening of literary studies. The Association for the Study of Literature and Environment, a professional organization, was established at 1992 meeting of the Western Literature Association. The organization supports and encourages interdisciplinary and innovative approaches to the study of nature and culture. It holds biennial meetings and since 1993 had issued a journal, Interdisciplinary Studies in Literature and Environment. However, the term eco-criticism got official sanction and literary currency in 1996 with the publication of two seminal books, The Eco-Criticism Reader, edited by Cheryl Glotfeldy and Harold Fromm, and The Environmental Imagination by Lawrence Buell. Eco-criticism is gaining momentum because it is closely associated with the ecological concern of the present. Present-day world, which is fully aware of ecological imbalance threatening mankind. According to Rupert, eco-criticism applies ecology or ecological principles into the study of literature. And Lawrence Buell defines eco-criticism as a study of relationship between literature and environment, conducted in a spirit of commitment to environmentalist praxis. Further, eco-criticism does not simply mean nature study or glorification of nature. It has distinguished itself from conventional nature writing, first by its ethical stand and commitment to the natural world, and then by making the connection between the human and the non-human world. This is a very important aspect of eco-critical study, making a chain between human and non-human. That is very important. It's not only eco-criticism is not simply a celebration of nature or glorification of nature. It's more than that. There is something ethical about it, and most importantly is that it is going to make a chain between human and non-human. All is generally neglected by mankind. We are so selfish that we are simply concerned about ourselves, not about the non-human world. Ecology has got two shades: the shallow and the deep ecology. Shallow ecology is anthropocentric, man-centric, you can say, which believes that the whole purpose of nature is to serve mankind. This is what we believe. And humans are the masters of nature. Man, being the only literary creature, thinks himself superior over the others. It also advocates systematic usage of natural resources like coal, gas, forests, oil, etc. for a sustainable future. But deep ecology challenges this conservation mode and advocates preservation of nature to keep it in its original form without any interference of man, as nature has its own right to survive. Let us not cut the forest, let us not trim the plants, let it go, let it grow as it is growing. We don't have any right to trim them, to cut them according to our whims and desires. All organisms on this earth have their own intrinsic values, and no one is the master of anybody. This realization will give equal rights to every organism in nature, maintaining a balance in the ecosystem. Eco-criticism gives emphasis on this eco-consciousness. So there is a paradigm shift. It's a shift from ego-consciousness of man to eco-consciousness about ecology. So there is a shift now in a study from ego-consciousness to eco-consciousness. The present environment crisis is a byproduct of human culture. It is not caused by how the ecosystem functions, but how our ethical system functions, how we behave with Mother Nature, etc. Eco-criticism builds this awareness among man. Now there are two waves of eco-criticism as identified by Lawrence Buell. The first wave, eco-critics, focused on nature writing, nature poetry, and wilderness fiction. They used to uphold the philosophy of organism. The aim of the wave was to preserve biotic community. The eco-critics of this wave apprised the effects of culture upon nature with a view towards celebrating nature, berating its despoilers, and reversing their harm through political action. So, eco-criticism initially aimed at earth care. The second wave, eco-criticism, is inclined towards environmental justice and a social eco-criticism that takes urban landscape as seriously as natural landscape. It seeks to locate the vestiges of nature in cities and exposes crimes of eco-injustice. The second wave saw a shift from rural to urban, from nature to environment, prompting the discipline to be socio-centric. Bioregional, eco-political, and post-colonial theories are a vital part of this wave. The eco-critics interpret nature, writing texts. At the same time, they use them as a context for analyzing the principles and customs of our society in relationship to nature. Often the result is a critique of how our culture devalues and degrades the natural world. Indian philosophy, is very rich in ecological thought. Vedas, one finds in the Vedas equal importance being given to all organisms. India is also a land of rich biodiversity. From the Himalayas of the north to Kanyakumari of south, from the Bay of Bengal of east to the Arabian Sea on the west, the country had versatile physical surroundings, leaving a deep impact on human beings. Since literature is a faithful reflection of human life and nature, eco-critical perspectives may be perceived in the works of a number of Indian English writers. But here I am going to take up only two writers. One is Ruskin Bond and the other is Rohinton Mistry. Off and on, for example, you must have read R.K. Narayan's The Guide. There also, there are some eco-critical studies. You know, even in that novel, you find a river. The name of the river is the Surrey. This river gives sustenance, life to the people living on the bank of the river Surrey. And you know, this river has not only been given the sustenance value by the writer, it is also a river of a spiritual significance. The river has got a spiritual connotations because it is only in the river Saryu where Raju stands to please the rain gods, and finally, as it is believed that the rain god is pleased and the rains come to the earth. So this is how he gives. You see, you can study the guides even on eco-critical perspective, leaving Raju and Roji aside, just by showing the importance of the river in the life of people, you can make